Well, thank you everyone for joining us, those here on the Zoom and those watching on our Facebook Lives. Thank you. My name is Dan from Lifestyles Medicine. I'm just going to share just a quick intro and say thank you to our partners, and then we'll turn it over to our presenters. Before we, as we get started here, just please note again that this is being live streamed and that it is also being recorded. So if you want to turn on your video, that's great, but please do take note of that. So I want to say a quick word about our partners on this event. So again, my name is Dan from Lifestyles Medicine. We put on community programs, mainly in the Toronto area, try to help educate people about lifestyle medicine so they can prevent and reverse chronic diseases. So you can learn more about us at lifestylemed.org, and our email address is there as well. We have also partnering with Pathways Lifestyle Medicine Clinics. It's naturopathic and nutrition clinics with 3 locations in the Toronto area. And they're specialized in the prevention, treatment, and reversal of chronic diseases using science. Sorry about that. I think I dropped here, so I just want to also recognize Paradise Fields, a certified organic farm in the Hamilton area. And their mission is to heal by producing the world's most nutritious, nutrient-dense produce. So you can check them out at paradisefields.ca. They also, Paradise Fields is putting on a depression and anxiety recovery program. This is a science-based program that goes on for 8 weeks from Dr. Neil Nelly, a world-renowned doctor specializing in mental health. So it's they have an info session. I believe it's tomorrow and next Wednesday. But you can go to paradisefields.ca for more information about that program. And then I won't say too much about Energy Shack. I'll leave it to Carolyn to share more. But Energy Shack is a plant-based juice bar, and they make some great juices and smoothies and other ready-to-go meals. So Carolyn, I'll let you share more later, but the website is there, energyshackjuicebar.com. Carolyn also offers nutrition services as well. All right, so today we want to talk about going plant-based. So why we should go plant-based, and how we can do that in a safe and easy way. And I think really going plant-based is probably one of the best decisions you can make for this year, for your health and for the world as well. So we just want to share how you can do that. So we have 2 presenters. First, we'll have hear from Dr. George Cho, who's a clinic director at Pathways, and he will share with us some of the reasons why going plant-based is a great idea. And then for the bulk of the time, we'll turn it over to Caroyln Nichols, who's a nutritionist at Energy Shack, and she will share sort of like the how-to, and also about the upcoming 28-day plant-based challenge. So thank you so much for joining us. As Carolyn mentioned, we want to get to your questions at the end, so please put them in the chat box. If you're watching on the live stream, put them in the comments, and we'll try to get to as many as possible following the presentation. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Dr. Cho. Thank you.
All right, Dale, can I share my screen?
Yep, go ahead.
You have to stop your share screen. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. So I'm George, and before Carolyn talks, I'm just going to be sharing some of the science behind plant-based nutrition, and also just answering some of the common objections that people have with plant-based nutrition, and try to answer them as best as we can here. All right. So we know that slowly but surely, more Canadians are going plant-based, and basically, the question is, are we going in the right direction? Is going more plant-based the right direction to go? And I want to answer, and I believe that the answer is yes. I want to make a case for that today. It's going to be a more broad discussion about the major reasons for plant-based nutrition, but hopefully it's enough to encourage you to make the switch. Okay, first, before we do that though, this is for educational purposes only. So Please speak with a healthcare provider before applying any of this information. And I have no conflicts of interest to disclose to you. All right, so Dalhousie University, they did a little survey, I think a few years ago, and basically their conclusion was that Canadians are turning to plant-based eating at mind-blowing rates. That's the word that was used to describe what's going on. The word is mind-blowing, and particularly among young people, like this individual here, a small business owner, restaurant owner in over there in the Maritimes, and it's particularly amongst young people. They're choosing to go plant-based for various different reasons: health, environmental friendliness, environmental health, and then animal cruelty. And so there's many good reasons why people are going plant-based. But it's not just the common Canadian, it's also in the more intellectual circles as well. So for example, if you look at the Canadian food guide, if you look at the different iterations of the food guide, is moving in a more plant-based direction. So for example, this is several years ago, and you can see here, if you see my mouse, they had a section called milk products. Okay, milk products and meat and alternatives. All right. Then later on, they switched it. So you see here, meat and alternatives is still there, but then you see here milk and alternatives. So it went from milk to now milk and alternatives, recognizing that there are alternatives, ways to get calcium and things like that. Okay. But if you look at the most recent food guide, the milk category is completely gone. The meat category on its own is completely gone, and now it's just protein foods. That's the category now. So fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and then protein foods. All right. So we're seeing that even with the Canadian food guide, it's moving in a more plant-based direction, and I believe that's the right direction to go. So things are moving in definitely in a more plant-based in a more plant-based way. But people do have objections, and I want to try to answer some of these right now. So number one, people say that it's extreme, all right? Cutting out all meat and animal products and just eating plants is an extreme way to eat. And they often think, it's just eating salads. If you're only eating salads, I agree that that's extreme. Okay, but this is plant-based. These are plant-based, and also this is plant-based. Okay, so when we're talking about eating plant-based, we're not talking about just eating salads. Okay, there's so many different ways to eat plant-based. Okay, that is really tasty and healthy at the same time. Okay, so when we're saying plant-based, we're not just saying eat green things. Okay, there's so many different ways to eat plant-based. Okay, we also have to recognize that when we say something is extreme, that the word extreme is a relative term. Okay, extreme compared to what? Okay, that's always the question. Okay, so for example, there are people groups across the globe where they eat very little to no meat. Okay, so for example, in the blue zones. Okay, so these are 5 places around the world where there's large proportions of centenarians, people who live to 100. And we're talking about healthy centenarians. We're not talking about people who reach age 70 then get Alzheimer's for the next 30 years of their life. No, these people are healthy. They're farming, doing surgeries, driving cars all the way up to age 100. All right. And so when you look at these groups, they eat very little to no meat. Okay. So these 4 blue zones groups, they eat very little meat. In Loma Linda, California, among the Seventh Adventist centenarians, the more healthier ones actually they're fully plant-based, so they eat no animal products at all right. So an example would be this individual here. This is Ellsworth Wareham. Okay, and you can see he's a centenarian. Okay, doing his fencing and stuff all the way up to age mid 90s. Okay, mowing the lawn, and he even did surgeries until his mid 90s. All right, fully plant based. Okay, so when people say that plant based eating is extreme, compared to what? Okay, so that's really the question. Okay, and really there are people around the world who eat fully plant based, and they're healthy. Okay, so really it's not actually not extreme at all. Okay. And when you look at the Seventh Adventist group, those who are plant-based are healthier. Okay, so among Seventh Adventists in Loma Linda and in actually in North America in general, there's different types of people, different type ways of eating. Okay, non-vegetarians, semi-vegetarians, pesco-vegetarians, lacto-ovo vegetarians, and then fully plant-based. Okay, and if you look at the different health markers, health indices, those who are plant-based are healthier. So this is BMI. So as you can see, pretty much the more plant-based you go, the healthier weight profiles on average. Okay. It's not saying that if you eat meat that you're automatically going to be overweight, but generally, okay, we're saying here that plant-based people, at least amongst the Seventh Adventist group studied in the Seventh Adventist health studies, their weight profiles are healthier than those who are eating more animal products and meat. Okay. Type 2 diabetes prevalence as well is lower amongst the vegans. Okay, even the lacto-ovo vegetarians do better than those who are eating more meat. Okay, the odds of type 2 diabetes goes down by nearly half compared to those who are just fully omnivores. Okay, a risk of cardiovascular disease also goes down as well by 42%. Okay, death from cardiovascular disease among among men. Okay, so 42% lower risk for cardiovascular disease, 55% lower risk of dying from ischemic heart disease. Okay, so the plant-based eating pattern is heart healthy. It's healthier for your heart. Okay, now, the majority is not always right. Okay, so just because here in North America, the majority of people eat meat and animal products every single day, and most people every single meal, does not mean that it's healthier. All right, the majority is not always right. Sometimes the minority is right. Okay, and we could flip it the other way and say, there's some things that are very extreme about the way that our food industry and the way we eat today. Okay, so for example, if you look at animal agriculture, that drives our whole meat industry and a whole pattern of eating. We could look at that industry and say that is very extreme. Okay, so cooping up animals like this and making them live in wretched conditions, mistreating them on a mass scale like we see in animal agriculture, I would say that is extreme. Okay, um, chickens are often made to be over too large, so they often can't even pick themselves up. Okay, uh, cows are often over milked. Okay, so they get diseases like mastitis and things like that. Right, so people have to recognize that the industry behind the North American way of eating is very, very cruel, and I would say very extreme. Okay, in Canada, our population is about 35 million. In Canada, we kill over 600 million chickens. Okay, in America, it's over 8 billion. All right. So if you look at just the amount of death required to sustain our way of eating, I would submit to you that that's actually quite extreme. Okay. Uh, One of my favorite authors, her name is Ellen G. White, and she wrote a book. She lived in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and she wrote a book called The Ministry of Healing. And if you could get your hands on this book, I'd actually recommend you read it. Though it was written many years ago, she has some very fascinating insights on how to eat well and healthy. And she has a little passage on animal cruelty and what it does. And she's a Christian, so she comes from a Christian perspective. But I think what she says here is quite powerful. So I want to just read a little bit of that for you. The moral evils of flesh diet are not less marked than are the physical ills. Think of the cruelty to animals that meat eating involves, and its effect on those who inflict and those who behold it. How it destroys the tenderness with which we should regard these creatures of God. Okay. The intelligence displayed by many dumb animals approaches so closely to human intelligence that it is a mystery. The animals see and hear and love and fear and suffer. They use their organs far more faithfully than many human beings use theirs. Okay, so I'll just pause there. So you can go in the wild and you rarely ever see an obese animal because they often are they have better self-control often than even humans. Okay, even though we are a more intelligent species, or yeah, they manifest sympathy and tenderness toward their companions in suffering. Many animals show an affection for those who have charge of them, far superior to the affection shown by some of the human race. They form attachments for men which are not broken without great suffering to them. Okay. What man with a human heart who has ever cared for domestic animals could look into their eyes so full of confidence and affection and willingly give them over to the butcher's knife? How could he devour their flesh as a sweet morsel? Okay, so, and I fully agree. I think that animals are supposed to be our friends, and I think what's happening right now in animal agriculture in that industry is really, really extreme. Okay. Paul McCartney, uh, he says if slaughterhouses had glass walls, everyone would become vegetarian. Okay. Um, and I just want to just put this in here. I was at a supermarket. I'll leave unnamed, and I like to go to the meat section, the fish section, and I'll look at the eels. Eels, right? And I just took pictures directly from the market, and you can see here these eels have these tumorous growths or these lesions on their skins. You can see right here. If you go to the market and you find your apple and it has like bruises, you wouldn't buy it. But these are being sold right there in the market. And this, I went to the fish section, and this several fishes in the tank were actually upside down, and that's a really bad sign. Fish usually are upside down when they're sick and they're about to die, but they're being sold. So just if you think your meat is clean and your animals are clean, you got to think again. So I submit to you that this is actually not extreme eating plants. I believe that this is actually the less extreme way of eating, in my view. Okay. We must face the reality that the way we eat is actually extreme. Our eating pattern would be a source of astonishment to our ancestors. Okay, so as a Korean, my ancestors way back, if they saw the way that Koreans eat today, they would be astonished because there's no way that a Korean peasant back in the day would be eating meat every day like Koreans do today. Okay, even my mother-in-law, I asked her, when she was growing up, how often she ate meat. She said, "Yeah, I ate meat once a year." So even just one generation removed, they're not eating that much meat. Okay, and she's healthy and so forth. Okay, so really, when we say something is extreme, it's always relative. All right, it's always relative. Now, some people say, how about everything in moderation? So just eat something, everything in moderation, right? Some meat, not too much, but you can still keep it in the diet. Okay, when we say something in moderation, um, I don't think people are actually really being that honest because, for example, in Korea, we eat dogs. Okay, so is anyone here open to having dog meat in moderation? No, right? When I went to Cambodia, they were eating fried spiders and tarantulas and stuff like that. They sell it right there in the market. Okay, and of course, none of us here would say, yeah, eat spiders in moderation, right? Nobody would do that here in Canada. Okay. So basically what I submit to you is that, everyone draws a line somewhere. Okay. We just debate about where to draw that line. Okay. So just to say that, we should eat everything in moderation is really actually a false statement. Everyone draws a line somewhere. It just the question is where. Okay. So, this is Dr. Walter Willett, and he's from Harvard University. I believe the former chair of public health and nutrition. And he says in the Blue Zones book, he's quoted as saying, "Meat is like radiation. We don't know the safe level." Okay, so yeah, could there be a safe level of meat consumption? Yeah, maybe, right? But what is exactly is that level? When people say eat meat in moderation, they say that it's so easy to say that, but it's also they have a hard time actually defining what is a safe level of meat consumption. Is it once a day? Is it twice a week? Is it once a week? Is it twice a month? Is it 3 times a year? So really scientifically, when you look at the scientific evidence, it's hard to pinpoint, what exactly is a safe level of meat consumption, right? But what do we know from the science? We do know that eating fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds is healthy. That's what we do know, right? Whereas for meat consumption, there's evidence to suggest that there are health detriments when we eat meat, right? So we can say, eat meat in moderation all we want, but people have a hard time really defining what that level actually is. Okay. So, for example, just some science here. So, they've done studies on type 2 diabetes where they actually compared what you might call a healthier way of eating that includes animal products versus fully plant-based. And this is from Dr. Neil Barnard's group, and they showed that eating plant-based, you can actually find better results when you look at people with diabetes. And this is a Korean study where they nearly actually reversed type 2 diabetes on a fully plant-based diet versus an American Diabetes Association diet. So basically, in these studies, they didn't compare plant-based versus hamburgers and fries. They compared plant-based versus actually a healthier, what they would call a healthier way of eating. But still, plant-based is actually much better. Okay. And in weight loss as well, you can see the vegans here. They studied weight loss, and vegans lost more weight than the omnivores and even semi-vegetarians and the pesco-vegetarians. Okay. This is a Dr. Carl Esselstyn. He's a cardiologist, and he's done some good investigations where they're actually able to reverse coronary artery disease by getting people to switch to a plant-based eating pattern. You can see here, this is the before. You can see how narrow the vessels are. Then you see after. Okay, so you can say everything in moderation, but when people are sick, for example, you have to really tell them kind of what they need to do to get better. And really, I think there's enough evidence to suggest that plant-based eating is really a good way to go, and and people can sustain that way of eating for a long time. Okay, so yeah, when we say everything in moderation, that's actually not a true statement. Everyone draws a line somewhere. So what I believe is a true definition of moderation is detrimental foods completely out of the diet, healthy foods in moderation. Okay, so because if you just eat beans, for example, and that's the only thing you eat, well, that's not moderation, even though beans are healthy, right? So you have to eat healthy foods in moderation, and foods that we know are unhealthy for you, you have to take them completely out. Okay, so for example, processed meat is a carcinogen, is a group 1 carcinogen, cancer causing. So that should go, right? Things like alcohol, we know this is a carcinogen, so that should go, right? So I believe that the right definition of moderation is actually unhealthy foods completely out, healthy foods in moderation. That's what I believe. Okay. Very quickly here, there's also good argument to be made for environmental health, right? So we know that our environment is suffering, and wildfires, almost near apocalyptic scenes, of recent months and years, things happening around the world. And there's more researchers kind of pointing out that, this might be due to animal agriculture, where the animal agriculture is causing a degradation of the environment, which is then leading to negative things happening like wildfires and so forth. Okay, so and even this is not fringe scientists in the Lancet in 2019. They released the Eat Lancet Commission report, and in that report they talk about how humans should eat for health and also for the environment. And they basically conclude here: increased consumption of plant-based diets could reduce emissions by up to 80%. Okay, so in this report, they don't advocate for a fully plant-based eating pattern, but they admit that the basically the more plant-based we go, it's actually going to be better for the environment. So I think that's just another layer for the argument to make that going plant-based is actually a really good idea. Okay. Some people say, plant-based eating is nutritionally deficient. Okay. Here, this is a position paper for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics on vegetarian diets. Okay, this is 2016. All right. And this is what they say. This is a very reputable organization. Okay, and this is their position paper. So for them, some of you who might not be too like in the academic stuff, basically a position paper is when a bunch of experts come together and say, okay, this is kind of our understanding of the science. All right. So this is what they say. It is a position of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics that appropriately planned vegetarian, including vegan diets are healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits in the prevention and treatment of certain diseases. These diets are appropriate for all stages of the life cycle, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, adolescence, older adulthood, and for athletes. Okay. So at all stages of the life cycle, vegetarian, vegan diets can be healthy. Okay, and you can meet your nutritional needs. All right. This year, this is my nephew here, being raised fully plant-based. I think he has a very good future ahead of him. Okay. Some people say that plant-based, so that plant proteins are less quality, so lower quality versus animal-based proteins. Okay, and they say that because animal-based proteins, they absorb better. They're more bioavailable. Okay, but being more bioavailable does not equal better. It just means that it's more bioavailable. That's all it means. Okay, it's a very narrow way to look at protein quality. Okay, so what I would think is that if you look from a more holistic perspective, um, some meat products, at least we can say for sure, does not represent better protein quality. So, for example, processed meat is right now labeled as a group 1 carcinogen. That means it's a definite known carcinogen. Okay, that does not sound like quality to me. Now, red meat is a group 2 carcinogen. That means it's a probable cause of cancer. Okay, so whether it's a definite or probable, it's still not good. Okay, and so I would say that if we just focus so narrowly on a bioavailability, then I think we really missing the full picture. And just wrapping up here, some people say, we tried low fat and it did not work. Okay, so some people now promoting, eat lots of fat. Plant-based isn't good because it's low fat, and we've tried that already and it didn't work. Okay, but this is really misleading because uh, as a society, we've never tried whole foods plant-based. Right, never have we done that. So it's really misleading to actually insinuate that through different wording and the way you phrase things. So for example, you could put low fat all you want on a strawberry pop tart, but does not equal actually eating strawberries, right? Same with chips. You can put low fat all you want on Ruffles chips, but that's not the same as eating whole potatoes, right? So when people say that, oh, we try low fat, so it's not going to work, so plant-based is not going to work, it's really misleading. Okay, this is the American Heart Association, and they actually, because of the whole fat debate and the fat controversy, they did what we call like a presidential advisory report, and this is what they say: taking into consideration the totality of the scientific evidence, we conclude strongly that lowering intake of saturated fat and replacing it with unsaturated fats, especially polyunsaturated fats, will lower the incidence of cardiovascular disease. So basically, they're saying, look, we need to eat more or replace saturated fat with unsaturated fat. And where do you get unsaturated fat? Mainly from plant foods, right? So if you look here, this Time magazine uh, cover here, it's really misleading. Okay. All right. Some people say it's too expensive, and it's actually not. If you're gonna buy Beyond Meat and all the time, then yeah, it's gonna get expensive. But beans and rice, these are really these sell for pennies, right? I mean, it's really cheap. Okay, uh, and some people say, well, plant-based people are hypocrites because we see you guys eating vegan ice cream and all that kind of stuff, and this is not healthy either. And it's true, there are many people who are vegan who are not committed to actually eating healthy vegan. So that is true, but I encourage everyone here for you to practice healthy plant-based eating, right? So just because don't get distracted by those who don't do it the right way. I encourage you to do it the right way. And then lastly, some people say it's too hard. And what I'll say to that is that, be encouraged because a lot of people they made the transition. Okay, and for some people it's easy, for some people it's hard. I could say that for myself as a clinician. Some people do it very easy, but other people do struggle. But I always encourage them, just keep with it, keep with it. You don't have to do cold turkey all at once. Just move in that direction. It's the direction that really matters. Okay, and as a doctor, there's nothing that else that I can do but to share with you the truth. Okay, so and a story that I like to share to illustrate that is this one here. So this is Dr. Cotto Esselstyn, a cardiologist, and he tells a story of a lawyer who he had a heart disease, and the lawyer met with his cardiologist, and the cardiologist told him, yeah, take these medications and whatever, and just sent him on his way. The lawyer stumbled across plant-based eating, and how plant-based eating could possibly help him with his serious heart issue. And so he would just decide to go plant-based, and lo and behold, he got much better. And so in his next assessment, the next time he followed up with this cardiologist, he asked, because the cardiologist told him, hey, you got so much better. What did you do? And he's like, well, I went plant-based. And then the lawyer asked the cardiologist, how come you didn't tell me? And because the cardiologist had said, oh yeah, I knew that would work for you. So the lawyer said, well, why didn't you tell me? And he said, oh, well, because I didn't think you would do it. I thought most people just don't do it, and it's gonna be too hard for you. And the lawyer, he responded with a very interesting answer. He said, that must be my decision, not yours. So basically, as a doctor, I don't assume that it's gonna be too hard for anyone. I have to just tell you the truth and let you make that decision. And I'm here to tell you that a lot of people have made that decision and have made the transition. So though it might seem daunting at first, I encourage you that for the sake of your health, for the planet, and even for animal cruelty, like we discussed before, that these are many good reasons to make the switch. Okay. And some of you might have children and thinking, oh man, my children will never agree to this. But this is a picture of my mother, and my mother, she learned about plant-based eating when we were about 8 or 9 years old. My sister was probably like 5 or so. And when she started to make the transition, me and my brother and my sister, we didn't like it either. But young people are they're moldable, and we griped a little bit at first. We didn't like it, but now we're so eternally grateful to my mother, who trained us well and put us on the right path to really be healthy, right? So I'm really grateful to my mom for what she did. And so I want to encourage, if there's any young moms out there or young parents and you're wondering, my kids will never enjoy this and they're going to cry and all that. Well, I can say to you that we might complain a little bit, but they will get used to it. And when they look back, they'll be very, very grateful to you. That's at least that's my experience. Okay, so with that, I'll turn it over to Carolyn.
Thank you so much, and loved all the information. That was really great, very encouraging. Thank you, everyone. We have a really great crowd this afternoon, and I love the information that Dr. George Cho has shared with us. Very relevant, lots of good sides. And I want to just make it very practical, because I do want you to understand that not all plant foods are created equally. And we will address the questions in the chat, so keep them rolling. We may go over a little bit over 3 o'clock with the questions, but we won't keep you for too long. And keep in mind as well that we're looking at all the names, and we're gonna pick 2 people today that stay to the end for 2 free gift cards at the Energy Shack. And at the very end, which won't be very long, just a few minutes out, we will also invite you to take up our 28-day plant-based challenge, which starts on February 1st and it runs to the February 28th, of course. And if you want to join, you go to energyshackjuicebar.com. I'll show you that at the end. Just join the challenge, and it's totally free. You'll be part of a Facebook community where we can all just, share, I miss my meat, but that won't happen. As well, you'll get free recipes, a grocery list. You'll have time for live nutrition, be able to ask the nutritionist any question. We are also going to give you, I'm coming to you from the Energy Shack Juice Bar. And if you're in the area or anywhere close, because we deliver even all the way to Hamilton or Oshawa, sorry, not to Florida and Texas, but for just $10. So we can also get you meals and all of that we've got a fantastic meal prep program. If you don't even want to cook, we're going to make it so easy for you. But before I just begin my slides of showing you how to make it practical, I just want to share personally with each one of you and encourage you, because some great questions are coming in. But I want to encourage you that I'm almost 46 years old. I started this plant-based journey at 17, and it was a big shock. When I told my parents that I wasn't going to eat meat, my dad said, "You will die." So I didn't die, I'm alive. And I tell you, I'm watching my friends that are my same age, or people that are coming in, as I am a certified holistic nutritionist here at the Energy Shack, and I do programs with people all over the world, and they're coming in at 40 and 46 and 45 and 50 on medication for, high blood pressure, diabetes. I feel good every day. I love who I see in the mirror. Maybe you don't agree, but I feel like I'm getting younger, even as I'm getting older. I have so much energy, and I just, I feel so passionate about this, because it's not that it's just changed my life, but every single client that I work with, and there's been hundreds over the last 10 years, it changes their life. We don't have a fail. We just don't have a fail. And every person goes through and starts 30 days plant-based. But it's not just about not eating meat anymore. There is a rhythm in which you need to eat, the rhythm in which your body was designed. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I've also, as Dr. George has shared, I raised my kids plant-based. They're teenagers now and young adults, and they're plant-based by choice because they love the way it makes them feel. They went from breast milk to water, never gave them a glass of milk in their life, even though my doctor told me they wouldn't develop their brain properly unless there was some homogenized milk in there, some dairy products, some meats. And I said, thank you, I'll see you in a couple years. And I'll tell you, my kids are smart, and there's no genius in their DNA. So I just want to encourage you, we'll answer the questions. Are you going to get enough protein? Do you need any supplements? I'm going to tell you personally, again, at almost 46 years old, I take no supplements, no iron, no B12, no calcium. And I do go get my blood checked all the time. I'm due for a visit again in just a couple of weeks. I get it checked every year, and my levels are perfect. Why is that? Well, I'm going to tell you why that is, because there's a specific way of eating. And so let me just share my screen with you as I talk to you about this. I just want to let you know that Zarla, who is our chef here at the Energy Shack, and she's a chef for many people, but she just let me know that we are also giving away a free pick 3 meals tonight. So stay right till the end, because we are going to call out some winners, and we are going to give you 2 $25 gift cards, which can also be used against anything at the Energy Shack, and 3 meals. That's a value of over $50. So plant-based cooked for you right to your door. So plant-based for 2021. As I mentioned in the beginning, not all plant foods are good for you. Sugar is plant-based, coffee is plant-based, black tea, green tea, white tea, they're plant-based. However, sugar is extremely bad for you. I don't think I need to tell you that. Refined sugar creates such a detriment. And black tea, green tea, yes, you're probably surprised for many of you that I'm saying this, white tea, coffee, chocolate, even vegan chocolate. The darker the chocolate, the worse it is. You're probably like, what is she talking about? dark chocolate's good for you. For sure. Just like green tea, it has lots of flavonoids, tons of antioxidants. I would agree. But it also has more caffeine the darker it gets. In caffeine, if you want to remember who the people are in front of you at age 65, you should not touch caffeine with a 10-foot pole because it actually hijacks your adenosine receptors in your brain. And when those receptors get hijacked all the time with caffeine, your body doesn't produce the proper hormones that give you the regulated energy through the day. So you get these crashes, and it crosses the blood. It crosses the blood cell barrier, taking over your nervous system. Believe me, in this world where we are full of stress, we are full of toxins, you don't want anything wearing down your nervous system. So I do not touch, and I'll tell you, my mom's British. I grew up with tea in my bottle. At 16, 17, when I transitioned to plant-based, I realized I was so addicted to caffeine, I had to give it up and have not touched it since. I don't even eat chocolate. It is so dangerous. And I'm not kidding when I say dangerous. So don't always believe the hype. Truth will never be popular. If truth gets out that caffeine is not good for you, Tim Hortons start to lose business, Starbucks start to lose business, Hershey's is going out of business. I mean, come on, this is just not going to happen. Coca-Cola, all of these things. But just because they're on every single corner and sometimes twice on one corner, it doesn't mean it's okay. Go through the withdrawals, and I'll tell you how to do that shortly. But also, you will also find in your grocery store, since this whole plant-based thing is getting very large, you'll see veggie meat and fake chicken nuggets, and you'll see fake ground beef. Don't touch them. They're not good for you. What about our Beyond Beef burgers? No, dangerous, even though they say no soy, no wheat. Well, have you read the label? It's full of so many fillers, artificial foods, and tons of canola oil, which again is another food that may be plant-based, but extremely detrimental for the human body. The best way to eat is, as Dr. Cho mentioned, whole foods. That's where you want to eat. That's where you want to live. And it doesn't mean you're not going to have a treat once in a while, but leave those treats for once in a while. And if you could follow the program that we're giving you tonight for free, I'll tell you, your body will change. You will love the way you feel. It won't feel like deprivation anymore. You'll feel like freedom because your energy is high, your sleep is sweet, you're not on medication. Now, I do want to put a little disclosure here that there are some people that have health issues that can't eat certain vegetables. And that includes soy. Is soy good? That's been in there. Well, if you are fighting cancer or you have any estrogen issues, soy is not a good idea. But if you are a pretty much healthy person, the plant estrogen that's in soy will not be harmful to you. Eat a couple times a week, it's not a problem. Just make sure it's not genetically modified. So timing also matters. I know that there's this big thing about intermittent fasting. Start your meal at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Then your last meal's at like 7 o'clock in the afternoon. And then from there, you go to sleep. Wow, that's so dangerous. That's so terrible for your body. We were not designed to eat this way. Just like we were never designed to digest meat. If you look at the human body, meat takes like 24 to 72 hours to get out of your system, and you don't have a refrigerator in your stomach gut. So guess what, folks? It rots and putrefies while it's digesting, creating so much uric acid and toxins and fermentation. That's a problem. We were not designed like other animals that do eat meat. Our food sits in our stomach, in our, not our stomach, in our small intestine for over 24 hours in some cases. And that's okay for a carrot, but that's not okay for a piece of fish or a piece of chicken. You ever leave that on your counter for 24 hours in a warm environment of like 33 degrees Celsius? In 4 hours, it's rapidly producing dangerous bacteria. Well, guess what? That's happening in your body and my body every time we eat meat. So it does matter of timing as well. We were not, of course, you look back in the day, meat was not, it was on special occasions, or it was once a year, or if you go back to the Garden of Eden, it was not at all. Today, you know, if you go even back to a couple hundred years ago or less, talk about, you know, the time of slavery, you know, it was the white men that had the meat. They had the meat and they had the sugar. The slaves couldn't afford those things. They were eating plant-based, and guess what? Those slaves were like living till they were 100, still doing their work in the fields, and the white men were dying at like 60 years old of cancer, so, and heart disease. This tells us a lot, but the problem is that today, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, or Indian. If you live in North America, we're all rich now because now we can all afford this meat. That's a problem. It doesn't mean it's okay because it's available. We also never used to eat at night. We never used to eat at night because we never had electricity. So we would eat a big meal in the morning, lunchtime would be our dinner, and you know, at night, have a cup of tea and maybe a cracker and go to bed. But now we have electricity. So we come home from work and sit around the table and then around the TV, and now we're eating again all the way till bedtime, and we wake up and we feel like garbage. We're swollen, we have no energy, our body's exhausted, and we just slept. What's the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is. First of all, our day should start with a flush of warm water with lemon juice. Let's get the system cleaned up first thing in the morning. Switch your coffee or your tea for a glass of warm water and squeeze a half a lemon in there. Drink that quickly. It's a flush. Most of us are dehydrated. And I want to tell you that your life and my life is in the blood. If you have good blood, all health is taken care of. If we have bad blood, it's not going to work. Your blood system feeds every single organ. It's the highway of all your nutrients. So let's learn how to have a healthy blood system. After you've had your lemon water, have another glass of warm water. And now this is what I want to talk to you about today. Does this look to you, and feel free to share it in the chat, I'll try to pay attention to the chat. Does this look like a healthy breakfast to you? So feel free, just put a thumbs up there. Let me know if you think this looks like a healthy breakfast. I'm seeing some, am I? Yes, hard to talk and also navigate, but yes, there it is. So we are. So we're seeing that this looks like, yes, 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 a healthy breakfast. Okay, Carolyn's back on technology. I can see my chat. Wrong. Wrong. Can you believe it? Well, I'll tell you. So as far as lemon water in the morning, it would not have an adverse effect on your health, but I would do that flush for like a couple months of your life. You are welcome to do it all the time if you want, but it can make people who have sensitive teeth a little more sensitive. So if you do have sensitive teeth or you have acid reflux, don't do that lemon water flush in the morning. Just use plain water, maybe once a week or so you can do that. So I'll tell you why this would appear to be a healthy breakfast, but it is not. Because if you're going to eat properly, according to the 8 laws of health, which we like to share, that came out of the book Ministry of Healing that Dr. Cho shared with us, you want to digest in the most optimum way. So this, my friends, would be a healthy breakfast. You could still have your chia seed pudding. It's no problem. You don't have to have oatmeal, but you want to eat your fruits first. You want to finish your full bowl of fruits and then move on to your grains. You never want to put your fruit on top of your chia seed pudding or your fresh fruit on top of your oatmeal or your fresh fruit on top of your cereal. You really, in this 28-day plant-based challenge that starts February 1st, I'm challenging everybody to also go gluten-free. I don't believe you need to live gluten-free, but just remove the gluten for a month to see how you feel. And then after that, you can reintroduce gluten products, but not wheat. Wheat is so genetically modified that it is wreaking havoc on most people's health. And when you read packages, make sure if you are going to buy a veggie burger to have something quick, make sure there's no canola oil, no wheat, and no soy, because the soy in there is going to be a genetically modified soy. That's like the trash left after the good tofu is made. So those are the three things you want to look for when you're reading packages. Of course, no dairy and no animal products, but if it's vegan, there may be canola oil, there may be wheat, there may be soy, and there may be vinegar, which I'll talk about in a moment, or green tea. Bad, bad, bad. And I'll tell you that if you can't all stay to the end, I do free consultations, and Dr. George Cho is our naturopathic doctor. So if you have coverage, you can get some discounts. But if you need more customizing, which I'm sure out of our crowd, some people do, you can just go to EnergyShackJuiceBar.com, EnergyShackJuiceBar.com. We'll give the link at the end, and you can set up a free consultation. So we'll talk to you about that in a minute. So your breakfast should be 2 to 3 cups of fruit. And right after your fruits are done, now we're going to eat a nice bowl of as much food as you can handle of either your gluten-free oats, or maybe just a handful of nuts and dried fruits if you're not that hungry. Maybe you'll have a nice gluten-free bread with some avocado or almond butter. Maybe you're going to make your chia parfait, but don't put fresh fruits in it. You can put some cooked fruits in it or dried fruits. But remember, fresh fruits first on an empty stomach, then your whole grains after. Well, great. What if I wash all of this down with a glass of water? That is dangerous to your digestive system. So don't do that. Always wait 1 to 2 hours after you eat your breakfast, and then drink water and only water. Water, 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 water. Nope, not herbal tea. Nope, not lemon water. Don't put a cucumber in there. Just water. I hope this is entertaining enough for the 4 and 2-year-old that said they were on the chat there. Keep drinking water until your next meal. Folks, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Just because everyone says that you should be snacking, it is not a good idea. So please do not put apple cider vinegar in your water. I'm going to address that in a second. I would really, really like you to stay away from any kind of vegetarian meat. I'm seeing here the Loma Linda Big Franks. Dangerous. I'm not kidding. Dangerous. I don't have any sponsors that I have to support here. So I'm just going to tell the truth as it is. We have to stay away from artificial meat. Any processed food, no matter what, is going to be a problem. I have teenagers in my house. Do I have veggie nuggets in my freezer? You better believe I do. Do I have French fries in my freezer? You better believe I do. Do I eat those things? No, I don't. Do my kids eat them every day? No, they don't. They get meals cooked for them, and guess what? They cook their own beans. My daughter made enchiladas this week. But once in a while, when there's no food cooked or they want a treat, they pull out the veggie nuggets and the French fries. That's okay for once in a while. I still won't have it once in a while, but let kids be kids. But the truth is that most of our diet needs to be made up of whole food. So again, I can talk to you about all the other questions coming up. After we drink water, then we're going to eat lunch. Now, this burger was homemade with kidney beans and brown rice, and it was, that was a good veggie burger. So I have a question. Which one of these plant-based lunches looks healthy? Is it 1, this curry stew, 2, this veggie burger, or 3, this Malaysian stir fry? I'm just gonna 1, 2, or 3. What would you say? Number 3, number 1, and one more. Someone wants to pipe in? 3, 0. None of them are a good lunch. Why is that? Because, my friends, we didn't have our salad first. So all of them would have qualified if that was a gluten-free bun and if you had made that burger yourself. But the reason why that wasn't the healthiest choice is because, again, you need the raw food before you eat the cooked meal. This is what a lot of people are missing. They jump on these plant-based diets and sure, they have a chickpea stir fry, or now they're eating, a curry dish, or now they're having their chickenless salad sandwiches, which we sell here at the store. Those are wonderful. You're making your lentil stews. Great. But if you don't have a salad first, the enzymes in that cooked food in the raw food help to digest the cooked food. And our blood gets really congested when there's no raw food in our diet. So your salad should be a little bit bigger than your cooked meal. And I love working with Chef Zarla because she actually cooks all the food on this program according to these laws of health, which is why our clients, we don't have one fail. We do not have one person with high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, IBS. We don't have one person. And if there's somebody listening who's been on a program and has had a fail, please let me know, because I don't know one person that has been monitored by me over the last 5 years that we've had the Energy Shack that has not found incredible healing. And many of them were plant-based, but they didn't eat it the way we recommended. You're having snacks, lots of cooked food, still having your caffeine, and still eating dinner. This is not the way to heal. So breakfast, big bowl of fruits, and then whatever grains, you wait an hour, drink only water until you're hungry. When you're hungry, that is when you'd have a nice big leafy green salad at lunchtime. Please take the cranberries off that salad. That's a bad picture. Don't put cranberries on your salad. They're mostly sugar. And then after your salad, then you will have your brown rice with your curry stew, or your homemade veggie burger on your gluten-free bun, or you're gonna have those wonderful plant-based meals after your salad. And again, Chef Zarla will make it all for you, and you'll get $10 off if you like to join her program at delectablebyzarlajane.com. And we're going to share that website at the end. So folks, guess what? It's water time. We're going to wait 1 to 2 hours after we eat, because if you drink at the same time, you dilute your stomach enzymes. So don't do that. And I just want to answer that question about vinegar. Do not put vinegar on your salads. Do not put apple cider vinegar, please, inside your water. It creates so much issue. Vinegar is wine fermented. Alcohol, nobody will argue with me that alcohol is good for you. Nobody will argue with me. Sure, it's got flavonoids, but we all know that even red wine, alcohol, is bad for the liver. It's poison. Vinegar is wine fermented. It does this. It is metabolized just like alcohol. It also weakens your stomach acids, because when vinegar is present, your stomach acids don't come out in full force. Okay? It also cures things. Your organs get cured by vinegar. It cures meats. Folks, vinegar is dangerous. Use lemon juice and lime juice as your base instead of using vinegar, please. Don't put it on your salad. Don't put it in your water. It's extremely dangerous. And if you are going to want to add a sweetener into your dressing, go ahead, use a bit of raw honey. You could use some maple syrup, agave a little bit here or there. And so I want to just, as I'm wrapping up here, water, 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 water. We're getting ready for dinner, folks. What is for dinner? I'm so excited to show you. Guess what's for dinner? Woo! All right, so you guys know my game now. Would you say that this is a healthy dinner? Number 1, number 2, number 3. It looks so good. Which one would you say is a healthy? Lance, thank you for listening to Caroyln Nichols. One day I'm going to have totally a talk show, because I love doing this. No dinner. Good answer, Sophia. So someone was asking about herbal tea. Is herbal tea bad for you? No, herbal tea is not bad for you, but it's bad for you when you drink it between your meals. It sure is. So you want to have your herbal tea at night on an empty stomach. Then all those herbs, they get into your body and they actually heal rather than interrupting digestion. Isn't it amazing? If we could eat in the right way, and then guess what happens? You're not hungry because you had a really big breakfast and you had a really good lunch. And I'm asking you to stop eating at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the latest. I'm asking you not to snack between meals. It interrupts digestion. If you are hungry at night, maybe you have a very physically intense job. And if you're working the night shift, I can talk to you about that later. But whatever time you wake up, I don't care if that's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that becomes your morning. Just follow this same routine. If you do a very physically demanding job, or maybe you're an athlete and you are hungry at night, sure, have a small salad. Have maybe an apple and some almonds. That can be your snack time. I do a lot of exercise. I have a very physically demanding job, and sometimes I do feel a little hungry at night. So I warm up my almond milk add a bit of turmeric, a little bit of honey. That's all I needed. And guess what, folks? When you go to bed, your body does something amazing. Do you know what it does? It actually rests. You actually heal and repair while you're sleeping because guess what? You're not digesting. Using intermittent fasting the other way, where you end up putting a meal, or even if you're not intermittent fasting, eating at night is actually a recipe for death. And I don't say those words lightly. We are taking years off our life just simply by eating dinner, even if it's plant-based. Because our body was designed to do most all of its healing while we're sleeping. But since digestion requires the most energy of the human body, your body cannot sleep properly because it has to digest. And so it can't heal properly and use all those nutrients in your food. So while you are sleeping, your body, your stomach should be almost empty. Your body will heal. It will repair so quickly. And you wake up rested, ready to take on the world. Don't you want the energy I have? I have it every day. Unless for some reason, somebody wakes me up in the middle of the night and I am not getting my sleep. But it's really amazing. And I just want to encourage you. These are just a few pictures of some past clients. Our programs are 30 days, folks, 30 days. The only exception to this 30-day change is my dear friend here, who obviously had a big change, but this was from November to June. I mean, that's a lot of weight. If you lost that much weight in 30 days, it would be an actual heart attack for you because that's too much. But you can do it. We just don't have a fail here at the Energy Shack. We don't have a fail. So how can you make this a reality? I'm so excited. Right now, you can jump onto EnergyShackJuiceBar.com and you can do a couple things. You can, there's a banner that comes up and I want you to join our 28-day plant-based challenge. Here's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get, if you decide that you wanna start with a detox, you will, only this group will be emailed a coupon for 10% off their detox, okay? I don't do this at the beginning of the year because too many people are buying detoxes that I don't want to give a discount, but I'm giving it to this group, okay? So you will get an exclusive code. You will join an exclusive email list that's only for you guys. Anybody who signs up for the 28-day challenge, even if you're not on this Zoom, tell your friends if they join this 28-day challenge, they can get it right on our website. They're going to go in an exclusive group that's going to get a coupon for delectable dishes, 10%, $10 off your meals, 10% off your meal. Use the word energy. Take that website down, delectablebyzarlajane.com. She can get you your salads, your main courses, your breakfast. And they come from the Energy Shack, the salads. She makes the most amazing healing meals. I can't even tell you. No vinegars, no veggie meat, no everything from scratch. Delivered right to your house for 10 bucks, guys. So that you will also get. You will get a free grocery list by me. I'm going to give you my grocery list. So that will come to your inbox. Every week, you are going to get a new recipe every single week. You are also going to be entered into a private Facebook group that's just for the challengers on this 28 days. So we can all encourage each other. And again, if you have friends that you want to be part of this, they just have to jump on our website. It's okay if they didn't hear everything. You can go to EnergyShackJuiceBar.com/free consultation. And if you need a one-on-one with me as a free consultation, do it now. Because come February, there's going to be a $30 charge. But if you are in our group, it's going to be free for you for the entire month of February. But come February, all my consultations are going to $30. It won't be free anymore. I'm too busy. So you will also get 1 month of our membership program. So from that 28-day challenge, at the end of it, if you want to keep going and you want the encouragement and you want to stay in that group for just $10 a month, You can just subscribe. You'll get your first month free. You will keep getting weekly recipes. And I go further. I give you natural remedies by video every week. You get free chats with the nutritionist. So this is just $10 a month after your 28 days if you want to keep going. It's going to be the best investment of your life. And if you do our free consultation, again, just fill out that intake form online, watch our video, 8 Secrets of Healing, and you will be able to get a more customized meal plan if you need it. Folks, this is like, free offers of a lifetime. Please tell your friends. This will also be repeated for those. So at this time, I realize we are at 3:12. So those who have stayed on, you will get an email that will let you know who the winner is of the 3 meals from Delectable Dishes, the 2 gift cards. And for those who can hang on for another 15 more minutes, we are going to take as many questions as we can. Dr. Georgia and Cho and I promise to keep our answers real short, but I just want to thank you for being here tonight. I hope this information was super valuable. And again, if you have more questions that are very specific to your disease, you have to fill out that consultation form. I don't think we're going to get to all of those questions tonight. So if you have IBS, digestion issues, thyroid, cancer, some of these vegetables are not for you. Crohn's, diverticulitis, fibroids, endometriosis, some of these foods and way of eating is not for you. Most of it is, but it has to be customized. So go to Energy Shack Juice Bar, click free consultation, and watch that video, fill out that form, and I will be in touch with you within 24 hours or one of our nutritionists. So Dan, I will turn it over to you. Guys, thanks. We're going to go through these questions rapid fire as quickly as we can. And I will just stop my screen share.
Thanks, Carolyn.
That was exciting.
Thanks, Carolyn. Yeah, Dr. Cho. So for those who are online, we want to respect your time. So if you do need to go, please feel free to do so. If you want, we'll stay on for maybe another 5-10 minutes. We won't get through all the questions, but let's try to get through as many as possible. Since we, as Carolyn said, we promised. So I'm gonna just select a few questions that I think are quite pertinent, and let's just try to answer them as briefly as possible. So Carolyn, first one for you. You talked about how we should drink water. Eat your fruits and salad before the main meal. What is there time you should wait? How many minutes before?
No, so you eat all your fruits, and then right away you eat your main core. You eat your grains. You eat all your salad, and right away you have your main course after. Don't wait any time. You don't want digestion to start and then you stop it. Okay?
Okay. Great. We also had a question about carob. Any thoughts on carob?
C-A-R-O-B, carob. Fantastic instead of chocolate. So I will tell you, I'm a carob crazy girl. I love to put a teaspoon of carob in my warm milk at night and just blend it. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of dates and I feel like I'm having like a hot chocolate. That's so good for me. So yeah, carob is okay.
Awesome.
Just watch carob chips and some carobs could have things added to them. So for a treat once in a while, it's okay, but just be careful. Ingredients.
Okay. Awesome. We had a question here about soy. I think there might have been a misunderstanding. So Carolyn, you're not saying that soy is bad, right?
No. So let's address the soy question because it's huge. Because when you're on plant-based, soy is a great source of protein. It's a fantastic source of protein. However, so first of all, you want a non-genetically modified soy. That's easy to find. Mandarin, sunrise, and even soybeans, edamame, bioorganic, or get one that says non-GMO. But in Canada, we grow a lot of non-GMO soybeans. So Sunrise has taken the lead and they make their tofu and soy milk from non-GMO soy. So that's perfectly fine for the average healthy person. But if you have certain issues like fibroids, like cancer, like psoriasis, like eczema, if you have those issues, soy is not a good option. But again, I would have to speak to you personally to address that, because that's that's something that I'd have to address in our free consultation. And the best time to have a smoothie is actually never. I just want to address that really quickly. Eat your fruits, don't blend them. If you have to have a smoothie, that might be at night on an empty stomach if you're a little bit hungry, or if you're in a rush and you couldn't get your whole breakfast in. That's the only time I recommend a smoothie. We don't chew it, it's cold, so it's not digested properly. Don't believe the hype, and I know I sell them at the Energy Shack, but I tell people how to eat them properly.
Thanks, Carolyn. So Dr. Cho, just a few questions for you. What is the difference between vegan and plant-based?
But technically, they're very similar, so they could refer to the same thing. But when we say plant-based, we're talking about whole foods plant-based. But vegan is kind of now like kind of an ideology where it's more about like animal justice and environmental justice and stuff like that. So those kind of phrases they use. So a vegan person, if someone says they're vegan, they might be still eating like unhealthy vegan foods, but they're not really in it for the health, really. They're just in it for these other justice issues. So when we say plant-based, we're really encouraging people to eat whole foods plant-based, rather than just eating foods just because it doesn't have animal products.
Okay, great.
I can also add to that, a vegan would never eat honey, and somebody plant-based may eat honey.
Yes, good point. Yes, Dr. Cho, breast cancer and soy. And just comment on that? Breast cancer and soy.
Breast cancer and soy. Maybe Carolyn and I might differ a little bit here. So, my understanding is that for people with breast cancer, I think that soy is actually okay. Soy acts as a phytoestrogen, and the phytoestrogen effects of like the soy is actually much lower than your body's estrogen. So really, it's actually if it's out competing your body's estrogen, then the estrogen effects are actually much lower. So overall, it seems to have a lower estrogenic. It seems to lower the estrogenic effect in the body. If you look at populations around the world where they consume a lot of soy, the breast cancer rates tend to be a little bit lower.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you there. Just on my initial 30 days, I just eliminate the soy, but it doesn't have to be forever because it's a plant-based soy. It doesn't affect you the way animal estrogen does.
Okay. All right. So why don't we take one last question, a more practical one. Maybe Carolyn, for you, any comments on healthy noodles and soup, like miso soup?
Yeah,
like
so unfortunately, yeah, so again, definitely join our 28-day challenge because we'll give you lots of we'll give you recipes each week and lots of help there. But miso, it's not that it's terrible, it's just that many times it has what's called natural flavor in it, which I hope everybody knows. And if you don't, natural flavor just means MSG. I'm not against certain fermented foods. I am against some of them. But just, read your packages and keep it simple, guys. You don't have to make these dramatic, amazing meals. Let Zarla do that for you. She really works hard at it. If you're making food for yourself, just, bake a sweet potato, stir fry some vegetables. You know what? Your salad is the most important part of your meal. Your fruits is the most important part of your breakfast. Keep it really simple with all the other stuff. And if you want some like exotic, affordable meals with fantastic recipes, 20 different meals for your entire month, order 3 delectable dishes. Treat yourself to a month of meals. It's like less than $300 for a month of meals. Really, that's very affordable.
All right. If you want to take one last question, we had some questions about B12. Dr. Cho, just comments on B12?
So regarding supplements on a plant-based eating pattern, so people should get their B12 tested if you're going to be plant-based. And if it's low, then you can supplement very easily. So there are people who are plant-based I've seen in clinic, and the B12 numbers are actually very high. So it's something that you should test with a blood test. Very easy to do,
Mm.
and then you could supplement or not accordingly. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would agree. I get my blood work done every year. I don't supplement with B12. I don't supplement with iron, but when you're transitioning, you may have to begin to supplement in the beginning, but you may not. So again, the best place to do that, folks, is go to EnergyShackJuiceBar.com, click on free consultation, and you can get myself and Dr. George Cho and Delectable Dishes. You can get all of it as part of your program, but it starts right now with free. So you get a free personal consultation. You really don't want to pass that up. Just go to EnergyShackJuiceBar.com, click on free consultation, watch that video, fill out the form, and we will be in touch with you and we'll be able to answer any of your questions that didn't get answered tonight.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much, Carolyn and Dr. Cho. So thank you everyone for bearing with us here. We hope you found this informative, and we really hope that this will be helpful as you go on your plant-based journey. Please do get in touch with us, as Carolyn mentioned, and please go to our website, lifestylemed.org. You could sign up for e-updates on upcoming events. We always do these twice, 3 times a month. So if you want science-based information, please stay connected with us. So thank you again, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.